SimPvP is a survival Minecraft server which has existed on the same map since 2011. Over the course of 8 years, the server has developed a unique history. Come explore the various chapters of that history in these episodes of The Complete History of SimPvP.
I don't know why. We may not be perfect, but heaven knows we try. But all around, even our old friends put us down. Let's drop the big one and see what happens.
So, with the fall of Trump City and the foundation of Valorant in the beginning of 2017, the first Burning Age came to an end, and the fifth era, the Silver Age, came to a beginning. The Silver Age was the first major era in SimPvP history where I was around to actually first-hand experience the era and the events therein. However, during that time, I didn't really pay attention to all the different alliances and historical feuds between the players, so I doubt my personal experience will be of really any relevancy other than a clarifying factor over everything. In the beginning of the Silver Age, Pippinger was still on hiatus. He claimed earlier, after his destruction by the hands of the BOC, that he had quit the server. However, no one really took this seriously and expected him to come back at some point in time. However, by the beginning of the Silver Age, as previously stated, in the beginning of 2017, he was still absent. However, in his absence, Ostrich1414 founded Quincy Gammon with Javelin Fury as well as a few other players. Later, he also founded the United Alliance, a group which harkens back to the old Pippinger groups. The group, commonly abbreviated as UA, eventually grew to have 18 members, and even when Pippinger returned to the server on his alt Porkington, regained him. Initially, the UA was referred to as the Remembrance, but in the summer of 2017, a player known as Porkington, Pippinger's alt, joined the clan. When he was brought into the fold, he suggested that it would be more apt that the group be named something that doesn't look towards the past, but instead looks fully towards the future, and UA, to him, seemed to be emblematic of that. Much like the Order, the UA was concerned primarily with establishing a few bases of its own, but also restoring old ruins near spawn, and they did this with equal efficiency as the Order. However, unlike the Order, Pippinger, although he had joined the group, was no longer to be a ruler of the group or a head of the group. This was to be primarily Javelin Fury and Ostrich, the original founders. In addition to all this, the UA also repaired and renamed a lot of well-known bases on the server. Tamarisk became Lian Yu, and Verunum became Verilium. Most of the time, players used the names interchangeably between the old and the new names. Amongst the bases that they founded were the Tomb, Westeros, and Monarchia. Now, the Silver Age, as opposed to the first Burning Age, was one of relative peace and stability. As you can see so far, I haven't had to cover a lot of different disparate groups. But there is one quote-unquote war that occurs early on in this age, and that would be the War of Monarchia. On the 22nd of August 2017, a prominent member of the UA, Clipchip, left the UA. Now, when he did this, he still had the cords and access to many of the bases, one of these bases being Monarchia, and he began to claim land around Monarchia. Now, why did Clipchip do this in the first place? Well, it's a bit of a long story, and I only have access to really one side of the story, but I'm going to have to quote the Wiki article on Monarchia. They spell it out clearly, quote, "On August 22nd, 2017, World Ruler 086 was invited to Monarchia from his post at Verilium, and he was brought over to the city via a portal system. However, little known to many of the UA's members, Clipchip had a long-standing beef with World Ruler 086 due to tensions and quarrels between the two in the past, and he greatly disapproved of World Ruler 86 being brought over to Monarchia. Despite several warnings to Ostrich 1414 and Javelin Fury, the two still brought World Ruler to the city from Monarchia, allowing him around as they discussed future plans for the UA. Furious, Clipchip ambushed World Ruler 086 in the middle of the city tour and slaughtered him, collecting his drops as he died. He then proceeded to destroy his contributions to the city, completely removing his floating island known as the Mile High Club. After these actions, Clipchip officially declared his departure from the organization and left the United Alliance. Though he is still a strong ally with many of its members, Clipchip is no longer directly affiliated with the UA and has moved on to pursue his own projects. After Clipchip's departure, the UA experienced a short yet painful hit as many of its members became inactive and no progress was being made. However, this was soon ended as Ostrich 1414, Javelin Fury, and Sir Tashington began construction of an official headquarters for the UA in Monarchia. The three terraformed a large man-made island beside the city, constructing a star-shaped foundation for the building. The UA headquarters, dubbed Fort Mana by Sir Tashington, was meant to house multiple rooms and offices related to the UA's many departments and bases, and is meant to be a physical location for meetings and organizational progression. Fort Mana became a massive project for the three, and the effort was led by Sir Tashington himself, who was temporarily named head commissioner of construction for Fort Mana. Outquote. So, according to that entire paragraph, labeled Clipchip's departure and the UA headquarters, it seemed that after his leaving of the base Monarchia and leaving of UA as a whole, people weren't really too afraid of Clipchip, as he was still on quote-unquote good terms with many of the members. However, things begin to get tense. Quote, as the United Alliance's social presence progressed further, tensions began to rise amongst it and other players. Clipchip, still bitter after his separation from the UA, decided to retaliate by forming his own group, quote, Clippy's Gang, outquote, as he called it. Clippy's Gang was an informal clan created specifically to rival the UA, and although it contained Clipchip as the head, there were no other members within it. Most people, however, assumed the clan's formation was satirical or ironic. Nevertheless, Clipchip took things a step further when he returned to Monarchia in mid-September 2017 and built an entire castle on its premises without being caught or noticed. Claiming it for Clippy's Gang, this castle was illegally constructed on UA soil within the confines of Monarchia's city limits and was a clear violation of Clipchip's separation from the UA. Though joking around at first, things turned sour when Clipchip shot and killed both Ostrich 1414 and Javelin Fury, stealing their drops in the process. Because of this, the tensions between the UA and Clippy's unofficial gang increased, and although many do not consider Clippy's gang a threat, the two became immersed into the midst of a Cold War due to Clipchip's violent reaction and the UA's unwillingness to surrender or submit to his negotiations. Fortunately, Ostrich 1414 and Javelin Fury were able to retrieve their items, and no further violence or terror occurred between the two rivals. However, Ostrich 1414 became increasingly more confrontational and violent as a result of the ensuing Cold War, and one day in Slash World, he decided to take it out on the_JM, leading him in with promises of a Book of Mending, Ostrich1414 shot and killed the_JM, stealing his drops. What Ostrich1414 didn't know was that the day before, the_JM became a member of the UA, and Ostrich1414 indirectly shot a member whose position was enacted in order to keep the peace. Nevertheless, Ostrich1414 kept the_JM's valuables, including his elytra, which the_JM continued to hound Ostrich1414 about getting back. This caused Ostrich1414 to continuously taunt him and release a server-wide bounty on the_JM's head, which in turn caused the_JM to turn against the UA and threatened their destruction. However, no more had come out of the two's rivalry, and things seemed to slow down for the UA afterwards. Regardless, tensions were still in the air. Out quote. So at this point, conflict between Clippy's gang and Monarchia pretty much seems inevitable. The event which occurred next is considered the War of Monarchia, and can be slightly interpreted as an internal affair if we come to the understanding that both Clip and the UA were former members, former associates, if you will, in the same group at one point, and all of this kind of arose from the splitting of Clip from the UA. But anyways, let's continue with the War of Monarchia. Quote, on September 27, 2017, tensions between the UA and Clippy's gang only worsened, as Clipchip's threats grew more severe and Ostrich1414's recklessness grew more evident. Porkington, who was one of the UA's most prominent councilmen, left the clan behind and joined Clipchip, working to help him create an intimidating area around his castle. Ostrich1414 became furious and proceeded to construct a spy tower right next to Clipchip, who warned Ostrich1414 that building this structure would result in serious consequences. Without listening, Ostrich1414 built the tower significantly higher than Clipchip's castle and began shooting arrows down at him. Clipchip then began to relentlessly bomb Ostrich1414's tower, blowing up the foundations. Ostrich1414 took this as an act of aggression and moments later officially declared war on Clippy's gang. The War of Monarchia, as this conflict became known, lasted a little over a week as the United Alliance sought to eradicate Clippy's gang as well as remove his presence and influence from Monarchia. Clipchip, however, desired to take land from the city and threatened to destroy the UA. 2 days after the destruction of war, Clipchip constructed a long, strong wall around a large chunk of Monarchian land, including important UA buildings, claiming them for his own. Ostrich1414 then destroyed this wall and rebuilt it around his castle, reclaiming the stolen land, as well as Porkington's tower. The next day, Clipchip repeatedly ambushed and attacked Ostrich1414 while he was helping Sir Tashington construct Fort Mona, killing him 3 times. This eventually resulted in an aerial battle between the two, even involving Javelin Fury, as the 3 shot at each other from the sky. Clipchip, frustrated with the UA, continuously asked them to surrender, to which a stubborn Ostrich1414 repeatedly dismissed. However, the war began to experience a cool down as the 2 clans avoided further physical combat and attacks, and the UA councilmen completed the conditions of surrender and what they would entail for the UA's future. On October 6th, 2017, Ostrich1414 and Clipchip began serious talks of peace, to which Ostrich1414 considered surrendering to Clippy's gang. Clipchip stated that Ostrich1414 would continue to use the UA's facilities, and the clan would continue to thrive, but he would become the leader, and push Ostrich1414 from his position. After thinking this over, Ostrich1414 agreed, and the two signed a peace treaty within Clipchip's castle, officially ending the War of Monarchia. This gave Clipchip complete control of the UA, as Ostrich1414 resigned from his position. Also, Ostrich1414 became an indentured servant to Clipchip, and Porkington was let back into the UA. As the war ended and Clip's grasp on the UA tightened, Ostrich1414 began to work less on UA projects, and work throughout the clan ultimately slowed down, as many members discussed the pros and cons of the outcome. Outquote. Now, that's the first time that I'm ever going to really quote anything from large paragraphs out of the SimPvP Wiki, because that's really the first time that we've had these detailed descriptions in the Wiki. Normally it's just a point of information here, a point of information there, but this was so detailed that it covered basically everything. I didn't really need to say anything else. But what was the outcome of the War of Monarchia? Really, it can be interpreted as a purely internal affair in one group. And the restructuring of the UA resulted in the creation of the Royal Alliance. Clipchip would invite all of the members from the previous UA and some members from the now faded to obscurity MC Mafia, and these would join together to create the new Royal Alliance, the continuation of the UA. And thus ended 2017. Nothing else really occurred in the year. In June, Daka had established New Nos Astra, but other than that, there's nothing else that really warrants mentioning. In 2018, the League was formed from within the Royal Alliance, made up of members such as Porkington and Ostrich1414. Later, Master_Zybot joined the Society of the League. He was an alt of Sir Tashington. The League went on to build many bases that are well known to this day: Estevez, Oberstein, Struthio, and the Hall of Vatlos. In the advent of the year 2018, it became clear that the League had split from the Royal Alliance. Just as the League formed, the conspiracy also formed from within the Royal Alliance. Many of the players who were still loyal to Clipchip and thought that he was the better ruler decided to join the conspiracy after the UA fell and the Royal Alliance fell too. The conspiracy is actually still active to this day, and they have bases such as the Vault and the Golden Sun. With these two teams taking sides, either being ruled by Ostrich or Clipchip, a Cold War was bound to ensue, and that is exactly what occurred. From late 2017 until the spring of 2018, according to the SimPvP Wiki, this Cold War made tensions on the server increase. Quincy Gammon was griefed, and the conspiracy was obviously the first to catch the blame. Monarchia was griefed beyond repair, and Ascaris was invaded. By March of 2018, however, the conspiracy and the League came to an agreement by which they would have peace and share Ascaris amongst each other's citizens. Oh, and also remember that Daka base that I talked about earlier? It was also griefed by Fluzz in March of 2018. Power and domination weren't the only things that were happening during the Silver Age. There was also a lot of unrelated projects taking place, such as Daka's World Border Expedition project, in which he attempted to travel to the world border, as the name suggests. The good old meme, Get Clip a Girlfriend, was started at the base of Java Lingzi. Tol Haneth was founded in July of 2018, and the famous base of Struthio was also founded by September of 2018. Throughout 2018, many things would occur. Oberstein, Bapadia, the server party at Quincy Gammon, at which I had footage taken which resulted in my ban or jail from the server. The controversy surrounding Jez's base, which I covered in my video on the base, and the implementation of 1.13 into the game. However, this video is already at 20 minutes long, and nothing else of real importance to the server history happens until 2019. That's when things get really shaky. But at the beginning of 2019, the Silver Age ends, and the second Burning Age begins. Towards the end of the Silver Age, the server began to experience a large increase in its player population, especially new players. This was due to various advertising efforts done by Eukaryon and Pippinger. In the second Burning Age, these new players would get a chance on the stage of SimPvP. But that's it for today. As always, I've been Lord Pasta, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.